All the hustling, all the work, from working the corner for Breeze and Kanan, it brought us here. You know, for two knuckleheads that grew up like us, Tommy, to make it in the city, man, ain't no small shit.
Yo, what is good, y'all? It's your boy Elite. And before I get started today, if you find yourself consistently watching our videos, consistently returning for when we post new videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm seeing some of y'all be watching our videos, but y'all not subscribed yet. So definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. I appreciate y'all. But today we're going to be talking about power and that boy James St. Patrick and his past. So yeah, we're going to be talking about his past, what was shown to us on screen, as well as like what we can infer based on what a lot of the writers have said. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about all that today in this video. But alright, let's get into it. So just to clarify, any particular dates mentioned in this video are subject to possibly being retconned, so take any mention of like years with a grain of salt, as Sasha Penn may retcon more things when Origins releases. Okay, so we know that Ghost, he was from Southside Jamaica, Queens, and he was born to Curtis St. Patrick and an unnamed nurse. And at some point early in Ghost's life, his father owned a nightclub, which he then lost, and his father became an alcoholic. The mother left the family, leaving just James and his pops back in Queens. And his mother was only really ever mentioned once throughout Power. And I believe it was when Ghost and Tommy was arguing after Ghost got back from his fight with Kanan in that warehouse where he thought he killed him.
Just a ghetto-ass corner boy from around the way with a drunk for daddy. And no mama. Motherfucker.
So I'm definitely expecting to see his mother in Origins, as we really don't know too much about her. But I do feel like she'll be a part of the beginning of his story, maybe a bit reminiscent of kind of how like Jukebox's mother appeared in season 2 of Raising Kanan. And for all we know, similar to how Jukebox's moms popped up after all them years, they might pose something similar when we see Origins. Like, just cause Ghost might be a teenager doesn't mean we won't see his moms, or doesn't mean she won't be mentioned. So Curtis, again, that's Ghost Pops, so he lost his own club and then ran the jazz bar with Uncle Gabe, who we saw in season 6 episode 10 of the original Power, and then in book 2 when Tariq gave the eulogy at his father's funeral. And just to note, Uncle Gabe is not his actual uncle. That's not his father's brother or anything like that. According to Courtney Kemp, she said Uncle Gabe is like a close family friend that became like an uncle to Ghost. So that's not, in any way related to him.
I tried to tell your father we needed to pay those drug dealers to leave us alone. He said that it would bankrupt us. Oh shit, I don't know. Maybe he was right, but I lie awake at night, thinking about it all the time.
Then we learned that James and Angela was in a relationship, as teenagers. And from what Angela said, they told each other everything, as he shared his dreams of eventually buying back his father's club to run himself one day. And at some point after school in 1996, I believe it was, Ghost and Tommy are working under Kanan dealing drugs. And Tommy mentions that, they're going to be introduced to Breeze at this point. So that means that Angela left the same year that Ghost and Tommy met Breeze, which makes sense as the duo wasn't too deep into the drug game before Angela left, or she presumably would have known, the extent of how much Ghost got into the drug game, because when she came back, it kind of seemed like she really only had like a surface level understanding of how, his involvement in the drug game was as a child, because like she really just thought he was just, corner boy, something like that. Really, she didn't know that, he was one of the biggest drug dealers in NYC. She did not know that. But of course, as we all know, eventually she does leave to go to prep school. She goes to Choate, and her family eventually leaves the South Side themselves shortly after. And in the pilot episode of Power, which takes place in 2014, Angela does say that they haven't seen each other in 18 years. So that means that she definitely did leave in 1996. So of course, Angela, her family, all of them, they all left the neighborhood before Ghost actually, earned his street name. Otherwise, they would have known him as Ghost. But like, by the time they left, all they knew him as was that kid that was playing lookout for the drug dealers. Like, she wasn't around by the time Ghost became a renowned drug dealer with his own reputation, like in Queens. Like, she was not around for any of that. So by the time we see, Ghost earning his name in Origins, Angela most likely will not be there. She'll already be off the choke, living her best life in school. So of course Angela's gone by now, and at some point after she leaves, Curtis St. Patrick dies because he called the police on the local drug dealers one too many times, and they killed him for it. Like, they was trying to get protection money from him, and he wasn't going for that. Even though Uncle Gabe did say that he warned Curtis and said we gotta pay them, but Curtis he was like nah, like that's going bankrupt us. We can't do that. So he thought calling the police would be the right move, but obviously it wasn't, because they killed him for it. And this is a point of interest for a lot of Power fans, because it's a bit unclear whether these drug dealers, quote unquote, were Breeze and Kanan, or like whether those were like rivals of theirs. Because even if it wasn't Breeze and Kanan, it must have been like rivals or something, because at the time Ghost probably would have been working for Breeze and Kanan already, and like it's Queens, so like come on, like either it was them or it was rivals of theirs. I'm really hoping it's the latter, as it would make for a much more complex scenario, but we'll see. So after his pops dies, Ghost never sees Uncle Gabe again until we see them in OG Power. And that's when he goes to live with Tommy and his mother, Kay Egan. And Ghost did say in the original Power that around this time he was hoping to hear from Angela, because his pops had just died. But Angela said she didn't call because all it would take is hearing his voice and she was going to come running back. So she said she did not call him specifically for that reason. And Ghost also did say that Kanan was there for him when his father died, so this means that the death of Curtis led Ghost to falling deeper into the streets. And at some point after this, Ghost earns the name of Ghost from Breeze, as he said that he had the ability to disappear and you never saw him coming and you never saw him leaving. Tommy also told Sean that him and Ghost shared a 91 Honda Accord, so expect to see that in Origins as well. So it can be surmised that over time, Ghost and Tommy was putting in work on the corner, proving themselves to Breeze and Kanan. So Breeze was the boss, right? And Kanan was, directly raising Ghost and Tommy himself in the streets, teaching them everything that they knew.
Man, why you acting like you so surprised, man? You raised Roller. You wrote the blueprint for his moves, man. Why wouldn't you want to take out the boss? It's the same shit you did to Breeze.
So something happened that caused Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan to want to take out Breeze. And it was implied that Kanan definitely was down with the plan to take out Breeze, because, Kanan always made it seem like he was okay with it. Now, this is where things get like a bit murky, because they never directly explained what motivated the move on Breeze, but in season 5, Ghost told Tariq that Breeze was gonna get them all killed, right? So this could just be Ghost trying to justify his actions to his son, but Ghost also said that he didn't want to kill Breeze and he loved him, that he was family to him. And Ghost said that Breeze forced his hand after he tried giving him one more chance. So I'm thinking like maybe Breeze was about to get them into like a war that they couldn't win. That's definitely something we're gonna see in Origins, that whole situation play out. It could go how I'm saying, it could go a different way, but it definitely sounded like, so like a war, or something was gonna go down that they couldn't win. So Ghost and Tommy took out Breeze with Kanan's knowledge, and this elevated them even further in the drug game. And as we know, Kanan had served 9 out of the 10 years of his original prison sentence. So this means Kanan was the boss until around like 2004, 2005. Ghost and Sasha had twins, Tariq and Raina, in the year 2002, while Ghost was still working under Kanan. And he evidently did not like this, as he realized that he'd never make enough money to achieve his dreams while working under his mentor. And Kanan mentioned in season 2 of the original Power that Ghost and Tommy kept coming around him with stuff that he was not down with. And this is yet another piece of information that was never expounded upon. So all we can really do is make educated guesses, but it always made sense that the disagreement between them was about the expansion of the drug business, cause Ghost and Tommy presumably wanted to expand into other territories, but Kanan was content with the territory that they held. And from what we've seen in Raising Kanan and everything that happened to Rock when she did try to expand her business despite it originally running smoothly, it makes sense from Kanan's point of view why he would be against expansion. So while this was not explicitly stated, this would definitely be the most plausible explanation in my opinion. So around 2004 to 2005, that's when Ghost and Sasha set up Kanan to go to prison. So Ghost supposedly, he said that he had a run to supposedly make and that he couldn't do it. So of course Kanan's the boss, so he's like, nah, no worries, I'll do it. So he had Sean, his son Sean, in the car with him, right? And he obviously was carrying a gun, obviously, and he had drugs in the car as well. And the prosecutors on his case said that, his taillight was out, and that's what prompted the police officer to pull him over. But turns out his taillight was unscrewed because Ghost and Tasha wanted him to get pulled over and, wanted him to get sent to prison because they knew with the gun, with the drugs, they knew it, it would definitely result in him being sent to prison for a long bit. So, once Kanan was in the car with his gun, with the drugs, Ghost then had Tasha make a call to the police, giving them the tip that led to Kanan being pulled over with his son in the car, the drugs being found, and Kanan ending up in prison. And there is a piece of information that we did see in the original Power that added more exposition to this situation, because Tasha supposedly said that she told Ghost that, that instead of sending Kanan to prison, the right move would be to kill Kanan. And it, admittedly, that would have been the right move overall from what we've seen. But Ghost said that Kanan was like a brother to him, that was family. So he said he could not do that. So in Ghost's eyes, sending Kanan to prison and not killing him was like an act of mercy. Even though that's not how Kanan saw it at all. Kanan kind of agreed with Tasha on that part. Like, he said, like, you should have just killed me. But yeah, that's just the whole disparity on that situation. Tasha wanted to kill Kanan and Ghost wanted to send him to jail. And all of this was unbeknownst to Kanan, right? So he hands over the business to Ghost, not thinking anything of it. And and Ghost proceeds to expand like he originally wanted to, selling wholesale, to his primeras like Ruiz, Drifty, I believe it was Crystal Ball at one point. But yeah, all those people that we saw in the first couple of seasons of Power, those were his primeras that he was selling wholesale to. And then he used his own distribution network to sell to high-end clientele. Like, what was her name? She appeared in Force. I believe her name was Liliana. Like, she was originally a member of Ghost, his distribution network, like just a regular street dealer. But they all blended in with the scenery. Like, you're looking at them, you could never really tell that they were drug dealers. Now, there is a major gap between the years of 2005 and 2014, as we really don't know too much of what happened between Kanan going to prison and the events of OG Power. Like, some things have been mentioned, like the Trenton beef that Kanan mentored Ghost through, the beef with the Dominicans, Ghost and Tommy sending up the triads and taking their shipment, etc., etc. Because all this took place in the intervening years, which we may see more of at some point. I'm gonna probably discuss this in another video, as my mans that I run the channel with, he had an idea which I do think could plausibly happen. But what we do know, other than what I just said, is that in book 2 season 1, Sax did say that Ghost criminal organization, it was like yielding millions of dollars for over a decade. So that's the the years, but between Kanan going to prison and OG Power, they were making millions of dollars, which I mean, that's obvious. They had a penthouse, Ghost had his Escalade, he had just opened a nightclub, and opening a nightclub in New York that's not cheap. That's not cheap at all. And he lived at the top of his penthouse, like he lived in the top apartment. So all of that is not cheap at all. And Tommy, he dressed modestly and had, he just had a muscle car. But they were both definitely making millions of dollars. Like I said earlier in the video, Ghost past is not something that has really been touched upon in depth, but I'm trusting Sasha Penn to do his upbringing justice when we do see Origins, which will probably be around like 2026, 2027. I'm fully expecting Origins to run a full 6 seasons, and honestly, they could even do a separate show showing us the years after Ghost set Kanan up, but before the events of OG Power, and that's like those intervening years that I was telling y'all about. But like I said, I'm gonna discuss that in another video. So there's a lot of potential when they really start to talk about and tell the past of James St. Patrick, and they could really split up his past into like, two different chapters. Really, they don't have to do it all in Origins. And given how eager Starz is to produce more Power shows, this isn't at all something that would be like outside the realm of possibility. We could very well be seeing Power on our screens for another decade well after that as well. Spinoff upon spinoffs are becoming more and more common these days, not just for Power. You got The Walking Dead, all these other shows, they're doing spinoff after spinoff. It's just mad popular these days. But as far as, you know, doing more spinoffs, time will tell. It does seem like they have a lot more planned for this universe, so we're gonna see Power on our screens for many years to come. But pertaining to the past of James St. Patrick and Ghost, you know, this is what I got for you. In the future, when more information does come out, you can hear about it here first. So I'm definitely gonna give y'all the scoop on that, on all that. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. You know, we definitely got more videos on the way. But in the meantime, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.